I was raised in a single-mother household, huh? That must have been quite a challenging environment. Absolutely, we can't possibly judge someone solely based on their upbringing and decide whether they can marry our son. I'm currently facing my fiancé's parents, and I'm being bombarded with incredibly rude words. They not only ridicule me, but also mock my mother. It's disheartening to see such behavior from their family. I'm inclined to decline the marriage proposal from my side and seek a more suitable path. I'll strive to maintain my dignity and not stoop to their level. My name is Zoe, and I'm 29 years old. My family consists of just my mother. My father passed away in a tragic accident when I was a child, leaving us to face life's challenges alone. My mother never shed a tear after my father's passing. She always wore a smile, even when I couldn't contain my grief. Thanks to her unwavering support, I managed to graduate from the law department of a national university. Today, I'm employed at a prestigious company, and my fiancé, Arthur, who is 1 year older than me at 30, proposed to me after a year and a half into our relationship. I decided to marry him, not only because of his affection, but also to provide my mother with some peace, even though it might have seemed a bit premature. Today marks the day when we meet his parents to discuss our impending marriage. I'm incredibly nervous. Do my clothes look strange? Don't worry, Zoe. You always tend to overthink things. But Arthur, you mentioned that your parents are quite distinguished and wealthy. It seems that your grandfather, in particular, had remarkable success as an entrepreneur and left a substantial inheritance. Indeed, his parents are what you might call wealthy, mainly due to his grandfather's successful business ventures. It appears that Arthur's father is currently living off the inheritance left by his grandfather. Do you think they'll be pleased with the gift I've chosen from a reputable place? Don't fret, the gift is fine. What matters most is that we brought something. I can't help but worry. Arthur seems so relaxed, going back to his parents' home, while I'm here feeling like my heart might leap out of my chest. We should have a sense of urgency. This meeting is to announce our marriage. As I grew more irritated by Arthur's carefree demeanor, a mansion like I had never seen before came into view. It's as grand as I expected, I muttered under my breath, to which he responded with a proud snort. Granddad certainly left quite an impressive legacy. His father and others are waiting for us. Let's head in quickly. As we entered the entrance together, the massive door automatically swung open, and his parents warmly greeted us. Welcome. You must be Zoe, right? We've heard about you from our son. Nice to meet you. I'm Arthur's mother. Yes, nice to meet you. My name is Zoe. His mother maintained a calm and pleasant demeanor throughout, which somewhat eased my anxiety and tension. His father also treated me kindly, but then he remarked, "So, you're colleagues with Arthur, huh, Zoe? That's impressive, a woman working for that company." I was taken aback by the "a woman" comment, but I chose to interpret it as a compliment and responded positively. However, as the conversation progressed, I began to feel increasingly out of place. Well, deciding to marry Arthur must have taken quite some courage, Zoe. Huh? What do you mean? Arthur's parents, it seemed, believed that their wealth set them apart, and his father did not hesitate to point out the differences in our social status. As the conversation continued, Arthur's mother, who had been composed until then, started to reveal her true nature. She began by addressing the topic of wealth and beauty. It's true that my family wasn't particularly wealthy, but as you can see, and it's a bit awkward for me to say this, I consider myself quite attractive. Don't you think I match well with my husband? I replied cautiously. Oh, I see. Her words left me uncertain, wondering if they were meant sarcastically or genuinely. I glanced at Arthur, hoping for his support, but he seemed unperturbed by his parents' comments. To my surprise, he even joined in, teasing me along with his parents. Zoe, she might not have the most striking looks, but she's excellent at her job. I believe she'll make a good wife. She's highly regarded in the company despite being a woman, and I think she'll compliment me well. I couldn't help but wonder if this was the same Arthur I knew. He had always seemed calmer and more refined when it was just the two of us. Perhaps the presence of his parents had changed his demeanor. While I grappled with these thoughts, I maintained a forced smile. Suddenly, Arthur's father redirected the conversation. By the way, Arthur, have you already met her parents? Of course, I've taken care of that. You don't need to worry, Arthur assured his father. His father's eyebrows subtly twitched, prompting him to inquire further. Zoe's parents seem like ordinary folks, I presume. I felt compelled to explain. My father passed away in an accident when I was young, and since then my mother has been raising me. So yes, I come from a single-mother household, and I still live with my mother. Upon hearing this, Arthur's father wore a pensive expression, while his mother appeared visibly sour. They began whispering to each other as if engaged in a secret discussion. Puzzled by their behavior, I cautiously asked, is there a problem? Arthur's mother then dropped a surprising statement. This might be a bit difficult. Perplexed, I inquired, what do you mean? With cold eyes, Arthur's mother turned to Arthur and said, Arthur, you should reconsider marrying this girl. Your mother will find you a girl with better circumstances. Taken aback, I couldn't believe my ears. Arthur's mother continued, a girl from a single mother household is not suitable for Arthur, right? Arthur's father immediately added, Indeed, Arthur, regardless of her career success, coming from a single mother household is problematic, isn't it? I felt like I was being treated as if I were a defective product, receiving such unexpected words from my fiancé's parents, whom I had just met. I was left dumbfounded by the shocking turn of events. Then in disbelief, my fiancé Arthur uttered words that left me in disbelief, causing me to question my hearing. Oh, so she's disqualified after all. I thought she could barely make the cut, but I'm already 30 and it would be a hassle to find someone else now, so I'll settle with Zoe. I couldn't hold back my astonishment. What, Arthur? Aren't we getting married because we love each other? Arthur laughed heartily and responded, You didn't really think I was getting married for a reason like that, did you? All I want is a wife who can take care of the household like a housekeeper. It's impossible for me to truly love someone with a home environment like yours. His mother chimed in agreement, saying, That's exactly right. Arthur's father was joined by scornful laughter, intensifying my disbelief. I had believed that Arthur's love for me was genuine, and this unexpected revelation left me utterly speechless. As the barrage of insults continued from Arthur's parents, targeting my upbringing in a single-mother household, my patience reached its breaking point. Anger surged within me, not just for myself, but also for my precious mother, whose honor was being attacked. Unable to contain my emotions any longer, I lifted my face slowly and calmly confronted them. Understood. Let's call off the wedding, and please leave here right now. Both Arthur's parents and even Arthur himself were taken aback by my statement. Arthur questioned me in confusion. Zoe, what are you suddenly saying? What I'm asking is for you to leave, don't you get it? What are you talking about? Why do I have to be told that by you? I don't understand. Arthur's parents joined in, making a fuss. Exactly. We don't have to be dictated to by a poor person like you, Zoe. Not only is your family background poor, but your attitude is also terrible. What are you thinking? Shut up, I exclaimed, hitting the desk hard with my hand as I stood up. Do you even know who owns the land this house is built on? What are you talking about? This land was left to us by my father, Arthur replied. Oh, from your father? Can you prove that this land is yours? Proof? I demanded. Arthur's father started to panic, realizing they might not have checked the land's ownership properly. They whispered to each other in dismay. What's the problem? If you own the land, there should be proof, like documents from the inheritance, I explained. We don't have anything like that. This house was built by my father, and this land was his from that time. That's why he could build it, Arthur's father stammered. As Arthur's father continued speaking, Arthur's mother raised her voice. First of all, what are you suddenly saying? It's rude for a commoner like you to talk about someone else's land, Zoe. Stop it. Just because my parents didn't allow our marriage, don't start making strange accusations. Frustrated by their ignorance, I decided to reveal the truth. It seems you don't know, so I'll tell you. Your grandfather only had a lease agreement with my grandfather. What? What's that lease agreement? Arthur's father asked, appearing confused as if he'd heard the term for the first time. Exasperated, I explained it carefully so that even this uninformed family could grasp it. A lease agreement is a promise that allows you to use the land. Currently, you are borrowing the land for free, and when the contract period ends, it will be returned to us. In other words, your grandfather is only temporarily borrowing this land from my grandfather. No, that can't be. I've never heard of such a thing. You're lying, Arthur's father protested. Are you saying I'm lying? That's not the case. By the way, we have that contract, and we have already confirmed whether it is valid or not, I asserted. Arthur's father was shocked and flustered by the unexpected truth. No, it's a lie, right? After all, you're from a single-parent family and your father passed away. That doesn't really matter. My maternal grandfather was a landowner and lent land to many people, I explained, hoping to clear up their misunderstanding. The reason my mother and I have been able to survive thus far is due to my grandfather's support. Do you own so much land? One of them asked. Yes, I replied. I majored in law at college, so I was researching land leases with my mother. At that time, we discovered that the place where you live is also my grandfather's land. Do you understand the situation? All two of them were gaping and stunned, struggling to grasp the situation. Nevertheless, I continued to convey the matter. Given the circumstances, could you please vacate this land promptly? As stated in the contract, the period of free rental ended quite a while ago. I believe my mother sent a notice in advance. No such thing came, right, Mom? Arthur's father protested, seeking agreement. However, Arthur's mother replied with a pale face. I noticed that an envelope was coming every month, but I didn't really understand what it was about, so I thought it was unnecessary and threw it away. Could that possibly be? That's the notice, I interjected with a broad smile. We've been issuing notices for more than 2 years now. What will you do? Will you pay 2 years of land rent in a lump sum, or will you move out? You have to decide. Wait a minute. There's nothing we can do if you suddenly say something like that. Arthur's father pleaded desperately, dropping to his knees. We've been urging you for quite some time. Please do something, he implored. Recently, we've been suffering huge losses in stocks, and our assets are just a tiny amount. We were planning to rely on Arthur from now on, Arthur's mother added, but there was no room for leniency anymore. I had considered an amicable resolution if the marriage had been decided and had received an apology for ignoring the notices. However, their treatment of my mother had pushed me beyond my limit. I'm sorry, but I won't allow you to squat on this land for free anymore, I firmly stated. With my refusal, Arthur's parents began to tremble. Arthur, who had remained calm until now, started to change his attitude. Hey, Zoe, can't you stop it now? I'm going to marry you, so please, what are you seeing now? So what if we forget about this matter? If we get married, there won't be a problem with this land, right? Is this guy an idiot? I thought. I can't imagine marrying such a conceited person at this point. I don't need a man who insults his fiancé along with his parents. I told him, I'm sorry, but I have to decline. There's no way I'm going to become part of a family with a conceited man like you and your deluded, naive parents. At my words, he appeared on the verge of tears, pleading, please forgive me. I left my ex-fiancé's house with him chasing after me. This place had various connections, but I believed I would never return. As for their fate, it requires no explanation. Despite boasting of wealth, his parents had few assets left. The fact that they couldn't pay the land tax for 2 years in a lump sum meant they weren't wealthy at all. Consequently, they were forced to leave their land, sell the house their grandfather had proudly built, and use the money to pay the overdue land tax. They continued their previous lifestyle for a while, but their money soon ran out. Now they live in a small apartment as a family of 2. The story quickly spread within the company, and he lost his social standing. However, his parents still rely on his income, so he cannot leave them. He occasionally sends me romantic emails, but I do not respond. I have no love for him and will likely never believe his words. He is now the subject of curiosity and gossip at the company, and I hope he continues to face challenges in this harsh environment.